Going to move on to our next speaker now, which is Susan Lane. Susan is the administration manager at Clean Annapolis River. She's been working there for quite a number of years now and has helped it through all sorts of trials and tribulations. I think many of you are familiar with Clean Annapolis River. It's based in Nova Scotia, of course, and uses a multi-pronged approach to organisational sustainability in an ever-changing environment. CARP have been running since 1919 to today and have been involved in innovation, creativity and flexibility have been their touchstones. So Sue, perhaps you could tell us a bit about the ways in which the CARP has adapted to the changing funding environment over the years, because I know from the questionnaires that people had about resilience, funding is a big concern for people. So it'd be good to hear your longer term view of how we adapt to changing financial situations.
It'd be my pleasure. Thank you, David, and folks for putting this all together. This is my first presentation, so bear with me as I'm a little tiny bit nervous. Val, if you could move to the next slide, please. And actually, David told you a little bit about Clean Annapolis River Project. We are based in Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia. We're right across the street from Fort Anne National Historic Site within the view of the Annapolis Basin. Our vision statement we work very hard for is ecologically healthy watersheds. And the mission is to enhance the ecological health of the Annapolis River watershed for current and future generations through science, leadership, and community engagement. Next, please. It's a shared challenge for all, as far as I can, get an opportunity to speak to other environmental not-for-profits. We work in a landscape where grants from governments, although very important, and other granting organizations, they're not sufficient to sustain an organization, allowing them to continue to do their work. And this is necessary. It makes it necessary to find other strategies to find the resources we need for sustainability. Often our grants, which are, as I say, extremely important, have very little that they can contribute to things like the phone bill and our rent. In our case, we don't own our building. So we do have to find innovative ways to come up with the resources to keep our staff paid and to keep our lights on. So if we could move along. This, I love graphs as well, because I'm actually a number cruncher and not a scientist like most of you folks. So this is a graph that shows the variability over the last 17 years. CARP has actually been an organization incorporated in 1990. So that's like 23 years of doing work in the Annapolis Rural Watershed. But you can see from this graph how it is very, the undulation of revenue and expense is dramatic at times. So we could go to the next slide. So the strategies, the key strategies for our sustainability and other organizations of similar type are building partnerships, sharing knowledge and resources with our partner organizations and the community as a whole, fundraising and friend-raising, building public awareness through social media and websites, newsletters, and signage at project sites. We mentor the next generation of young scientists, and we access funding to enable young environmental practitioners and students to gain hands-on experience. Next. Here are some of the partners that we have successfully built partnerships with over the years. You can see from the sign, the Adopt a Stream Nova Scotia Salmon Association, Coastal Action, Mersey Tobiatic Research Center. Recently, the Nova Scotia Federation of Agriculture. We work extensively with Acadia and Nova Scotia Community College, and we have made contacts and work with our local communities in the watershed, the town of Annapolis Royal, where we live, town of Digby, and the town of Middleton. One of the other resources is sharing knowledge and equipment so that when we have a specific project and to go out and buy a specific piece of equipment. And as you know, water quality equipment, for instance, is quite expensive, and having a boat that's suitable to go out on the water. So we share our resources with, for instance, the boat, Acadia University is using it at the moment. A local group here in town didn't have its own projector and screen, so we were able to share that. And we have a library of resources that has been collected for the last 30 years. I wish it was used more, but now most things are available online, so physical books aren't used quite as much as they used to be. Next one, please. One of the other things that's extremely important to our organization, and I'm sure to most small NGOs, is fundraising and what we call friend-raising. Here you can see pictures of the Annapolis River Festival that started back in 1916 and 2016. I'm in the wrong decade, excuse me. And it was set aside during COVID, unfortunately. For 2 years, we were not able to have our festival, but it is back on last year and again this year. So if you're in the Bridgetown, Nova Scotia area in July, please join us. It is our major fundraiser, and over 1,200 people join us on that day. There's boat tours, there's dragon boat races, music, and you can see we even have a bounce castle where the children come in and have a great time. Some of the other, through that festival, we are able also to forge new friendships and to have more volunteers and members contribute to the organization when they see the work that we are doing. We also do other smaller fundraisers like online lotteries, and we do barbecues at local events in the watershed and go to information sessions to share our message. Next one, please. So we also build public awareness through social media, as most of us do, our website, newsletters, presentations, public events, and project signage. And the reason I brought the signage up is because what it does is it also brings attention to the work that we're doing at particular sites. And it also gives us an opportunity to acknowledge our partners who, most of the work we do, we gather many partners, and it's a little hard to see, but there are lots of logos under these signs that are in situ. And, it's an opportunity to have people aware that there are other folks contributing to these projects that we are doing. Next slide, please. Exploring nature with the next generation of young scientists. This is one of the really fun things that we get to do, because engaging young people is fun and it increases awareness of our organization and the watershed. We work with schools and community groups to allow children to get outdoors, to explore their communities, and to get dirty. Here you see children identifying macroinvertebrates, learning about flower seeds, and critter dipping in the Annapolis estuary, getting out there and scooping up bugs and identifying them. We also access funding to provide young environmental practitioners and students with valuable hands-on experience. We access the Canada Summer Jobs Program, Eco Canada's Pathways to Employment Program, and Clean Foundation for their leadership program for students, often some high school students and university students who have an opportunity to work with us in the summer and provide valuable person power to our summer field work. And the overriding, I think, message is diversifying revenue sources. Clean Annapolis River Project provides services to industry and stakeholder groups as a tool for revenue diversification. By leveraging our skill sets, regional expertise and resources. CARP can build revenue sources that are not solely tied to grant programs. A strong, resilient organization has a multi-pronged approach to revenue generation, but its most valuable resource are the people who work and volunteer for our organization. And if you are interested in learning a bit more about Clean Annapolis River Project, we have a website, a Facebook page, which I notice I put there twice, and Instagram. So lots of stories to look at on our particular websites and other things. And thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share CARP's story of resilience with you. An organization with, right now, we are one of the, our staff complement is as high as, you know, as it is in the off season, and we have 9 people. I have seen us go down to 3 in the off season. So we grow, we do lots of work and partner with lots of folks. So I think that might be one, and to be 36 years old, I wish I was again, is a testament to the resilience of a small organization in a community of 500. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Susan. That was wonderful. Yeah, that was really great. We've got time for a quick question or two, everyone. I'm sure, like everyone else, I'm going to be adopting the phrase friend raising. That's a really important point. Connects for me with the idea of people providing gifts of time as well as gifts of money. But does anyone have any questions you want to ask us, Susan? Julie, go ahead.
Yes, hi, thanks for your presentation. I'm curious to know, when you do your festival, what type of fundraisings do you do? Do you sell items, or is it like a paid entry? Because we do have a festival at our organization, and I'm thinking it might be interesting for us to start fundraising.
Yes, well, it's very interesting because we're in a public site. The Jubilee Park in Bridgetown, Nova Scotia is a public park, so therefore there is no admission. So we had to think about how do we raise money, because that is the goal. That is one of the goals. The other goal, of course, is to enjoy the river, to have people understand that this river is a valuable resource and it deserves to be protected. So one of the major events that draws a lot of people are dragon boat races. Now, there is a cost to bring those dragon boat races in, but there is also a cost to participate. So anybody who would like to go into the dragon boat for the race, there's a $50 per seat charge. But what tends to happen is that organizations, the town of Annapolis Royal put a team in, and various organizations will put a team in, and they will pay the $1,000 for the opportunity to have their team compete against other teams on the river. We also have a food and beverage tent, which people pay to imbibe in. We often have local beer companies come, and it's all licensed and everything. So those things are all cost, but then people purchase food. There is also a small fee for food vendors to come, and there's a little bit of revenue there. But we go out into our community and ask for sponsorship. So we put together a beautiful colored booklet that has ads. It's an ad booklet, but is also the schedule of events, and there's also a music component. So local musicians have the stage where they provide music for people during the day. The site is a beautiful site with a view of the river. One of the shots, you could see people sitting on the bank of the Annapolis as they're watching. There's also canoe races. There's it's fun to watch the pop-ups. I'm easily distracted. But also we have volunteers who take people down the Annapolis River about 20-30 minutes and give the history, because the history of the Annapolis River is very interesting, and of course come from an area that has been settled, but prior to even being settled, you know, as David mentioned, we are in Mi'kma'ki, and there have been First Peoples here for 13,000 years, and the rest of us came much later. So that story is also told, and there is a fee to go into the boat and participate in that. So those are some of the revenue. We also, you know, may do a 50-50 draw, having some of our young folks wander around the field and sell 50-50 tickets. It is, you know, it is a multifaceted way of collecting or fundraising while having a really brilliant time.
Great, thanks, Susan. That's great.